You didn't lose your drive due to laziness. You lost it because something within you has broken free. What many fail to mention is that awakening doesn't necessarily simplify life. In fact, it can sometimes make existence feel more complex. After experiencing a spiritual awakening, there's an unusual paradox that often goes unaddressed. You come to the realization of your true nature. You comprehend that you are not defined by your occupation, your experiences, or your thoughts. In the initial days or weeks, this realization can bring a sense of bliss. However, that is soon followed by a feeling of emptiness, as if life has suddenly lost its meaning. If you haven't already seen our earlier video on why you might feel demotivated after a spiritual awakening, I strongly suggest checking it out. It lays the emotional foundation for everything we're about to explore in this segment. This isn't merely about rekindling your motivation, it's also about discovering meaning when your previous sources of significance no longer resonate. Stay with me, and I assure you, it will help you reconnect with something you believed was lost. It goes beyond understanding. It's about finding your path again after awakening. Let's dive into what truly occurs during an awakening. It's not just a fleeting moment of clarity, it's akin to a psychological upheaval. Everything that once mattered, success, validation, even your sense of self, unravels. Once that structure falls apart, what remains? Nothing, just your unadorned self. And that can be frightening. This is the aspect that many aren't ready for. Awakening transcends a mere spiritual experience. It's a psychological crisis. Jung referred to this as the encounter with the self, when your ego comes to realize it is no longer the focal point of existence. But that isn't liberation. It signifies a form of death. In Jungian psychology, this marks the point where the persona, the social mask you don to navigate the world, begins to fade. However, what sprouts in its place is not immediate clarity or tranquility. Instead, you may encounter confusion and an existential haze. Once the old narrative dissipates, you're left standing there, devoid of a story. And here's something that often remains unspoken. Your mind will desperately attempt to hold on to anything, old beliefs, new spiritual doctrines, or even feelings of depression, because at least that offers a sense of reality. But what if this feeling of meaninglessness is not actually a dilemma? What if it serves as an invitation? Keep that thought in mind. In the next part, we're going to delve into what Carl Jung proposed as the genuine way forward following spiritual awakening. It isn't merely a return to the usual. It's about constructing something much more profound, and the way he articulated this journey could completely reshape your perspective on healing. So if the emptiness that follows your awakening isn't an issue, then what is it? Carl Jung asserted that this void, the lack of your former self, does not signify the conclusion of your journey. Rather, it is an invitation to embark on the true one. Here's the catch. That journey does not ascend towards enlightenment. Instead, it descends into the unknown, into yourself. This is where many individuals get stuck. They perceive awakening as the final goal. Yet Jung would argue that it's merely the threshold. He said, individuals will go to great lengths, no matter how irrational, to escape facing their own soul. Post-spiritual awakening, your ego has been significantly fractured. This means that the unconscious, including your shadow, fears, and unresolved emotions, begins to seep through. The issue lies in the fact that we are encouraged to pursue light, but not taught how to embrace the dark. This is why you may experience feelings of numbness, restlessness, or a peculiar sense of isolation. Your awareness has expanded, yet you have not fully integrated it. This state is what Jung referred to as individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self by confronting the entire range of your psyche, its chaotic, emotional, and absolutely essential, as genuine meaning is derived not from fleeing the world, but from achieving wholeness within it. Let's question a widely held belief. Ego death does not equate to enlightenment. It signifies trauma to your identity. The ego is not inherently bad, it is merely incomplete. Jung did not advocate for the annihilation of the ego. He encouraged us to cultivate our growth, transforming the survival-driven facade into a conscious, balanced self that exists in harmony with both the unconscious and the soul. So if you find yourself pondering, why do I feel so scattered after my awakening? The reason is simple. You are indeed feeling that way. You've shattered the exterior shell, yet the underlying structure remains unrenovated. This process requires time. At this juncture, many individuals resort to numbing their feelings, seeking highs, disconnecting, or overindulging in spirituality. They continue to search for something external to restore their sense of purpose. However, Jung's entire philosophy asserts that the meaning you seek isn't out there, it resides within the parts of yourself you have yet to encounter. Thus, the crucial question arises: how do you reconstruct that meaning? How can you discover purpose after the old one has crumbled, with no option of reverting? In Part 3, we'll explore Jung's views on how to rebuild your identity after awakening, not by reverting to your former self, but by becoming who you were always destined to be. And yes, we will delve into synchronicity, archetypes, and why your dreams may currently carry more significance than your goals. Perhaps you've sensed it. A yearning, as if something wants to progress, yet you find yourself in a limbo between your former identity and who you are evolving into. It may feel like you're waiting for a signal from life, but that signal never arrives. Carl Jung referred to this phase as the reconstruction of the self. The reality is, most individuals fail to move beyond it. They revert to old habits or worse, linger in the post-awakening haze for years, numbing it with distractions or detachment. Yet what Jung uncovered, this might surprise you, is that the way out doesn't lie in doing more or seeking motivation. It lies in grasping the structure of your inner world. Let's discuss Jung's notion of archetypes, universal patterns of the human psyche. Consider them as internal blueprints that aid in understanding the person you are becoming: the hero, the seeker, the wise one, the orphan. They're not mere illusions, they're transformative patterns. Once you've activated your earlier archetypes such as the achiever, the pleaser, or the survivor, those roles may no longer serve you. This is why everything might seem aimless now. You haven't failed, you've simply outgrown your previous identity. And this is significant because it grants you the power to choose, not out of fear or conditioning, but from a place of authenticity. Jung articulated that the goal isn't to become virtuous or even spiritual, it's about achieving wholeness. This means accepting your contradictions, embracing your shadows, recognizing your gifts, and acknowledging your grief. Your newfound sense of purpose will not emerge from the external world. It's already embedded within you, ready to be rediscovered. While many disregard their dreams, Jung valued them highly. He asserted that your unconscious communicates with you every night, guiding you toward integration. This isn't mystical, it's your brain reconfiguring your psyche. Focus on recurring motifs, animals, unusual structures, or that familiar stranger you frequently encounter. They're not random, they carry messages. If you're feeling adrift, begin here. Maintain a dream journal, document the images, avoid analysis. Simply observe. With time, you'll start to see a coherent map taking shape. Patterns will reveal themselves. This is your subconscious offering fragments of the new identity you are creating. Once you begin to act on these clues, synchronicities will start to appear. Life will begin to respond. This is the alchemy Jung referenced. You might be asking yourself, how do I embody this? How do I translate this inner evolution into a tangible life? Because while awareness is enlightening, you still have obligations, relationships to nurture, and a practical existence to navigate. That's precisely what we'll explore in Part 4. We'll discuss how to manifest your renewed self into the world with clarity, intent, and serenity, even amidst the chaos of modern life. Here's an uncomfortable truth most shy away from. Awakening doesn't grant you superpowers. It actually makes you more human, authentic, vulnerable, and self-aware. And that awareness requires something of you. It doesn't allow a return to autopilot. The surrounding world will continually attempt to draw you back into chaos, performance, and comparison. Yet, Carl Jung would emphasize that the objective isn't to squeeze back into the confines of the norm. It's about discovering how to exist from your core in the authentic world. For this journey, you will need new instruments. Not merely techniques, but internal frameworks that encourage the development of your most authentic self. So let's explore 3 impactful tools from Jung's viewpoint that can assist you in regaining meaning. Not meaning appropriated from others or superficial motivational quotes, but your own unique sense of purpose. Tool number 1 is to reacquaint yourself with the language of silence. Our environment is overwhelmingly loud, and not just in terms of noise, but also in its demands. Even the process of healing has been drowned out in discord. Thus, when we finally cease our distractions and find ourselves alone with no phone, no external stimuli, just us enveloped by quiet, most individuals become anxious. In silence, there is no script to adhere to. There's no algorithm to satisfy. There is only you, and you may have been evading that version of yourself for quite some time. Jung posited that silence isn't merely absence, it is presence. A presence so profound that it challenges the ego's illusion of mastery. Silence is where the true self begins to express itself, not the external persona, but the inner witness, the soul. However, here's the secret. Do not enter silence with the expectation of uncovering something extraordinary. That's still the ego at play. Instead, embrace silence without the compulsion for it to achieve anything. Allow it to be frightening. Let the monotony surface. Allow discomfort to spread across your skin. This represents your psyche purging itself from the addiction to noise. Within that stillness, patterns emerge. You will start to discern what your nervous system is conveying. Your emotional backlog will find its voice, and ultimately, a quiet awareness will arise not from cognitive thought, but from an embodied truth. This is where the foundations of meaning are established, as silence creates room for your own authority. And indeed, it can be daunting to realize that no one else, neither your parents, spiritual leaders, nor systems, can determine what is right for your soul. This responsibility rests solely with you. Yet, therein lies your liberation. This is where meaning takes root. Tool number 2 involves reclaiming your personal myth. Following an awakening, many individuals find themselves feeling disconnected from the game of life. Jobs can feel superficial, goals lack substance, and relationships may seem merely transactional. However, Jung would argue, you're not beyond the world. You've merely outgrown the narrative you've borrowed. It's time to reconnect with the myth you are meant to embody. Each soul possesses a myth, a distinct pattern of existence that it seeks to express. Often this truth isn't immediately evident. It might be concealed by years of conditioning. However, if you delve deeply, you can uncover hints. Reflect on your childhood. What activities did you engage in effortlessly before the onset of shame? What made you lose track of time simply because it resonated with you? Even if it appears childish, eccentric, or unproductive, there lies a thread of meaning within. Jung believed these early manifestations are not mere coincidences. They provide glimpses of the self prior to the world's modifications. This journey is less about goal setting and more about attuning to what life wishes to articulate through you. So what reappears persistently, despite your attempts to suppress it, is your myth calling out to you. And it will not resemble anyone else's journey, as it is uniquely yours. Tool number 3 is about transforming your suffering into art. One of the greatest misconceptions in our culture is that creativity stems from joy, and that artistry is reserved solely for the gifted. Jung would completely refute this notion. He recognized creative expression as the psyche's inherent mechanism for self-healing. When we manifest the unconscious through images, writing, sound, and movement, we liberate the energy that has become trapped within us. Therefore, cease waiting for the right emotional state to create. Instead, channel your anger, your sorrow, your confusion. Allow these feelings to serve as paint rather than poison. You don't need to be a professional artist. You need to express yourself. Do so with the spontaneity of a child, curious, chaotic, and unapologetic, not for social media validation or a pursuit of perfection, but because something within you is yearning to emerge. And here's the reality. The more authentic and unrefined you allow it to be, the more it transforms into something extraordinary. You not only discover meaning through this process, but you also generate significance for others. To summarize, integration is not about reverting to your former self. It's about releasing everything that isn't genuinely you and living from the clarity that is left. Silence provides access to your inner voice. Your personal myth offers you guidance, and creativity instills the bravery needed to bring it to life. Yes, awakening may require sacrificing certain things, relationships, identities, careers, but if those elements were based on illusions, then they were never truly yours to begin with. The true reward lies in authentic meaning, a meaning that no one can take away from you because it is something you have rediscovered for yourself. If this video resonated with something genuine within you, know that you're not alone. This journey can be isolating, yet it is also one of the most sincere experiences you will undertake. So, I pose a question to you. What is one truth you've confronted since your awakening that has dramatically altered your perception of yourself or the world around you? Share it in the comments. You may never know who your story could assist, and if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to Fractal Wisdom. This is a haven for seekers, misfits, and deep thinkers eager to cultivate a life grounded in truth rather than illusion. Thank you for being present here.